Where we going?
Labor and delivery class. Labor in a day.
How late are we?
Well, we're just running a little behind. And the baby's running ahead of schedule. It must be quite nice to be able to bring a baby into the world without having to do a thing.
Oh! Fresh this morning.
We can't bring our camera into the class.
Can we not?
No, we're not going to film other random people. Kyle just asked if we
They're going to film us.
Kyle just asked if we were going to switch up partners.
People... I just want to find a cute little pregnant lady in there.
Okay. So a lot of people are like, oh, you don't have to go to classes, you don't have to read books, whatever. So I took most of that advice.
We were laying around one night and Mallory said, oh shoot, my water may have just broke. And then in my head, even though I acted calm, cool, and collected, I was like, oh shoot, I don't know what the hell to do except drive to the hospital. We realized we need to speed up the process on this class so I know how to take care of my wife.
He just gave that spiel after he just gave a spiel about how Tiger Woods is playing in a tournament and Tennessee is in the NCAA tournament.
There is nothing more I would rather do today than hang out with my wife with a bunch of other pregnant women and not watch my college team in the NCAA tournament.
Because he's been out of college for 25 years, so I think that's probably a better option. We're in a new phase of life.
You're just mad because your podunk college team doesn't have a basketball team in there.
They have a basketball team, but it was
They suck.
What is it, D3? You can do like a labor class where you go 2 hours for like 4 weeks or 6 weeks, like once a week. Or you can do a labor in a day, which is what we're doing today on St. Patrick's Day. Got my green on. I'm 35 weeks in 1 day, so if I did go into labor today, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But obviously we'd like to make it to 37 weeks. We ain't making it much past that though, I'm gonna tell you that right now. So my impression of what I think this class is gonna be from the movies and from moms that I've heard say about these classes is that they're pretty funny. What I'm a little scared of is that sometimes they say they show videos. I don't need to see that. Like, I just need to know how to do that. And I definitely don't think Kyle needs to see that. What do you think?
It's not on my list of things I want to see.
Things that we were required to bring for this class, besides ourselves, our good attitudes and
You sure you brought your good attitude this morning?
Yeah, I'm sure. Did you bring your good attitude this morning?
I've been jolly as crap since we woke up.
So the other things that we're supposed to bring were pillows and parka, because they said it gets really cold. And we got all our things. So we got our pillows in the back. Definitely brought my silk slip pillowcases in the shade of pink. Not meaning anything, just bringing some pink stuff. And my support person.
We are midway through the class. Started off great. I spilled my water all over the floor when we walked in.
And we brought too many pillows. Everyone else had one small pillow. I brought one for my support person. First stage of labor being like 6 to 12 hours. And that they recommend you stay at home during that part instead of coming straight to the hospital. Like, we didn't realize that.
Yeah, I would have gotten everything ready, like, okay, let's go, but you want to take a deep breath, stay in your safe place, maybe clean, maybe even bake a pie.
Yeah, she suggested maybe baking a cake.
That's what the hell I'm talking about.
Something else I didn't know was that this is 10 centimeters. That is what 10 centimeters looks like. Which makes me a little nervous, but a little happy that things can do that.
Strong. Like an ox.
They made us like clip clothespins on our ears and think of our happy place and see how bad it hurt. And then they made us like clip clothespins on our ears and like think about it, just talking about like how important it is to relax during birth and not focus on the pain, which I've done like meditation and stuff like that in my life. So I remember that, but it was good to be reminded of that because I wouldn't have thought of that. Like, that exercise really showed it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So this second half after lunch is when we'll see things such as the birthing video. And I was the only one in the whole class that isn't finding out what the baby is, and with the diabetes.
Special.
Yeah. We are back home after our all-day birthing excursion. What do you feel that you learned that you didn't know?
I basically knew it all.
it makes you feel prepared as you can be. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I didn't know things like how many people were in the room if you have to have a C-section. I also heard horror stories about C-sections, like they cut your abs in half and they set your organs on the table, and those people that told me that were not telling the truth, or else they didn't know what happened.
No, that's what I loved about those classes. It gets rid of a lot of disinformation that people read online or hear from their friends. It's just absolute bull.
Another thing that I learned that was interesting to me was that, like, how important the prolonged skin-to-skin time is. So, you know, you have all your family there and everything. The baby they want to hold the baby in the first hour. They don't recommend that anymore. Apparently, they want the baby to stay on you for like 2 hours before people start coming in and holding it and all that kind of stuff. So, just kind of preparing your families for stuff like that.
And all that's backed by, you know, scientific evidence that it helps the baby, their temperature, it helps them nurse better. There's a reason for it. No, I love that.
A bunch of stuff like that like was new information to me, which you guys tell me your stories in the comments, because I'm sure it was different for you too. Things change constantly too. For instance, like they used to say put alcohol in the umbilical cord when you bring the baby home. And just in January, apparently, they've changed that rule at the hospital that we're at. And now you don't do anything to it. Like, just a bunch of different things like that. And all the things they give you in the hospital that I had already ordered off of Amazon for my baby bag. Just all the different, like, positions that you can birth in. Like, I always thought you just lay on your back and you birth that way. And, I mean, we unfortunately saw some
lots
videos.
Of interesting things.
I mean, I don't know if like every birthing class shows this video, but if you see the video, if there's a video that comes on and you're in a birthing class and it...
You can. No.
Yes, you can. No. So the videos were just a lot for me. I didn't really want to see some of the stuff that we saw. Kyle says I can't say the person's name that was in the video because for some reason he thinks they might be a viewer, but they're definitely from 1975. So
just out of respect.
70.
Jesus.
It's probably not even a real name, but it was not a beautiful sight. Some of the births were fine. I was fine with watching them, but there was one of them that I was just not cool with, and I happened to be the first one, and that really set the tone for the rest of the afternoon. I saw my cousin give birth in the room, and it was a very beautiful thing, and it seemed like exactly what I would expect it to be, and it was. But then. One of the videos just wasn't the same.
It's not like they have a lot of models signing up.
This guy at the end of our class, I loved it. She was like, any last minute questions? And he didn't say anything the whole class. And he was like, any advice on introducing dogs to babies?
It's a great question.
I know. I was like, I love that. But he saved his question. Kyle has to make this space comfortable for me. And then,
which I always do.
And then, it was really helpful. Just one of the videos I didn't like, but other than that, it was really nice. Like the camaraderie in the room. There were a lot of pregnant women and a lot of husbands there with having their first babies. And
the instructor was awesome.
She was great. We there were like I don't know. I'd say 20 couples in there. We were the only ones not finding out, so that was kind of cool.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
To anybody. It's probably stuff, it's just helpful to kind of know going into it. I'm sure there's unexpected things, but I just feel more comfortable knowing when she starts having contractions, kind of a game plan instead of flying by the seat of my pants like I usually do.
And we practiced all the things like the breathing through contractions, the birthing dance, and they showed the men how to rub the women's backs to relieve contractions and pressure points and all these things. But yeah, we'll let this digest and we'll tell you a little bit more after we read through some of our materials tomorrow. But overall, it was a good experience. Parts of it a little scary, but I think that's just kind of how birth is in general. So yeah, we're ready for this. Today has been a bit interesting. We're feeling a little bit more prepared after the birth class, after we kind of let it rest for a night. I'm still feeling a little mix between prepared and traumatized. yes, I'm 4 weeks away from when they said they would take me. But obviously babies in my situation can come early. And I am really feeling like it is about to come. In fact, we were in a baptism class this morning and I was like, my water's about to break. This baby's coming this week. I've started having contractions where my stomach is tightening, but they're very irregular and I can change positions and they kind of stop. So I think it's like the beginning ones, like Braxton Hicks maybe even, but it's different.